Alright guys, we need to fucking talk. We deadass need to fucking talk. Some of you guys don't realize all the shit that's going on in the world. If you don't know me, I'm fucking Vlad Ethereum. Sorry about the fucking lighting, but I'm gonna just stand over here so that it's actually decent, right? What you're not realizing about me is I'm one of the most powerful crypto geniuses on this planet as of fucking today. Vlad Ethereum, crypto genius. Fuck you if you think otherwise. Anyways, we're talking about ESG. We're talking about Bitcoin versus the P word, where people do nasty things on camera for money and corrupt other people for more money. And if you get really good at it, you can corrupt a bunch of fucking young adults and make a fuck ton of money at the same time, and actually help contribute to fucking the destruction of well, not only minds, but technically the ozone layer, because that shit takes up 3.5% of the world's energy. Bitcoin takes up 0.5% of the world's energy. But yet it's such an issue when the P word, oh no, it's not the P word. It's Bitcoin that's ruining the economy. Bro. My thing is, with all these ESG billionaires, cantillionaires, lobbyists, and politicians, right? My thing is, notice how one thing that they go after reflects a narrative, but they won't go after all the things that go behind that narrative. They pick and choose. They put the truth with a lie. Right? Notice how Bitcoin provides privacy, security, freedom, sound money. Yet the P word, everybody knows what I'm talking about by now, literally destroys your mind, gets you addicted to dopamine. Fucking quite literally takes up 3.5% of the world's energy, quite literally takes up 30% of the internet's bandwidth on a global scale. But yet, oh no, that doesn't harm the environment. I wonder how far we're going to be willing to go to defend the destruction of ourselves. And thanks Matthew Crowder for fucking talking about this shit today, because I am too. Literally, quite literally, we're talking about, if you can even fathom, billionaires, cantillionaires, all the rich people, all the evil rich ass people ganging up against one thing that takes power out of their hands. Cause why? Cause that's the reason. That's the reason. Actually, that's not. We have the why, right? So we have that narrative. Oh, it's Bitcoin. It takes up too much of the world's energy. Oh no, Ethereum is better. I know my name's Vlad Ethereum. It's just catchy. I don't want my name to be Vlad Bitcoin because it's not as catchy. But Vlad Ethereum sounds way cooler, so I went with that. And I also have a tiny ass amount of Ethereum, but it kind of is what it is after that proof of stake bullshit. A lot of people literally use centralized network controlling 50% of the nodes, controlling the ability to literally censor up to 50% of the transactions, and making it so damn expensive to where, oh, you can run your own Ethereum node. If you have thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars to pour into that shit, you need a 32 ETH minimum. The fuck? You don't need any minimum to mine Bitcoin. Anyways, moving on past that ESG shit and how they're corrupt on its own. Again, the point there, they're talking about ESG, electric cars. Not only will these electric cars fuck up the environment due to the overload of the disposal of batteries that is going to be had in the future, due to the overload and overuse of copper that's going to be had into the world, going into the overload of overuse on the mining for these metals that are going to power these electric cars, going into the overload of overuse of fucking surveillance. Because if everybody has an electric car, if gas cars are banned, think about it. If gas cars are banned, that means the electricity grid is centralized. Who's to say that after they come out with their digital dollar next year, FedNow, that there's going to be maximums on the amount of electricity you can get with the federal dollar system, with the digital federal dollar system, right? Who's to say that they won't corral everybody into it by saying, oh, you want your money, you want your tax return. Oh, sign up for FedNow. You want your Social Security, sign up for FedNow. You want your stimulus checks, sign up for FedNow. Right? It's all a facade. It's all a confidence game. and they're losing confidence. That's why they're making illogical arguments. That's why they're making illogical arguments that depend on emotion and not fact. Okay? Another thing is, moving on past that ESG shit, imagine how many people are suffering in Germany right now because the average man's salary didn't 3x, but your energy did. The average man's salary didn't 10x, but the energy did. And you make still just the same amount of money, but your energy prices are 10x and gonna be 20, 30x by the end of the winter. Literally Germany, because of their energy, because of Europe's sanctions against Russia, no matter your stance on the war right now, you shouldn't want more people to suffer theoretically, right? More people are suffering at the hands of billionaires saying, no, we're not going to buy from Russia, when realistically, the average man doesn't give a fuck about any of that shit. They're just trying to stay warm and keep his family warm and actually be able to buy food and shit with the euro and not have their fucking monetary system 10x basic necessities in life that they need to survive. They're not trying to see the next thing up to go in price is firewood. They're not trying to see firewood 2x in front of their eyes and one day be able to say, kids, you can keep the rest of the firewood. I have to figure it out. Because that's going to happen, if not already, right? We have another thing. Euro and British pound trading at one of the worst rates in the last 20 years. In the last 20 fucking years, we have that going on, right? With that said, we have their asses attempting to lower inflation with quantitative tightening, but when shit got too tough, they had to pivot. And the same thing is going to happen to the United States. But guess what? We've bailed ourselves out too many times. Wait until we hit a 2008 in the next year, and it's going to be too late for let's say, it's going to be too late for you to get out your bank when they default. It's going to be too late for you to save your savings, right? That's already happened in Lebanon. That's already happening in Israel right now. You can't have over more than $2,000 USD equivalent to over $4,000 USD equivalent in cash, or you can be fined, courted, blah, blah, blah. You're at the expense of the hands of the law, basically, in that situation. But again, you have record highs of euros and yen and yuan fleeting into the US dollar. You have China's premium, 30% premium on gold. China's hoarding gold because they want what the real money is. China is hoarding gold because they want what the real money is. They want the world reserve currency. When we're in this crazy ass transition, and nobody sees it except a couple smart people, that the US dollar will not be the world reserve currency in the next 10 years. And now what does that tell you? Right? It tells you that Bitcoin can keep up with any currency, right? But if the US dollar can't even keep up with the other ones, what does that tell you about the state of our economy, right? What does that tell you about our inflation, our government policies on taxes, our government policy on printing, our government policy on needless spending, and everything of that sort, right? Other thing is, notice how we have an inverted yield curve. Why does the fucking 3-year earn you more than the 10-year? That's not how it works. You hold something for longer, you should get more money because you're taking on the government's debt for longer, not the other way around. But interest rates are going up too much. Everything is going up too fucking much. Basis points are getting risen left and right. 75, 0.75, 0.75, 0.75. We have NATO begging us to slow the fuck down because we're sending them into a dead-ass economic depression, right? We have that. What else do we have? We have Japan's bond market. There's going to be an entire liquidity crisis. If the taxes the government receives are at an all-time low, their tax income is at an all-time low, bonds are getting sold off for US dollars for countries to save their own currencies. China's doing it, Japan is doing it. And it's a never-ending cycle there, but I'm not even going to get into it in this video. We have, what else do we have? We have that situation. What happens when we come into a bond market liquidity crisis? You know what that means? It means not only is there no liquidity for you to get if you want to sell your bond, it also means that there's no liquidity for, well, bonds will for the most part be able to be sold, but that doesn't mean you'll always be able to exit, right? So let's say this. Let's say that the US debt can't sell off its debt anymore. Then you have a default. Then you have an income problem. And then not only do we have the US budget deficit, we have the US trade deficit. We export. Wait, hold on. We import more than we export. So we buy more than what we sell. We had a record high of $1.1 trillion so far of either last year, this year, can't quite remember the timeline, but nonetheless, $1.1 trillion of trade deficit, of debt, extra debt added, because the US government can't have its shit together. Point of the video is, notice how people with this ESG bullshit, the World Economic Forum, want to go after Bitcoin, something that provides security, privacy, freedom, sound money, versus the P word, which all it does, give you dopamine addiction, then profitability, right? And takes up 30% of the internet's bandwidth, along with 3.5% of the world's energy, right? Notice how we have inflation of all sorts. U.S. government might be heading into a liquidity crisis. And we haven't even talked about Credit Suisse. We haven't even talked about Deutsche Bank. Deutsche Bank, however you say it in Swiss, whatever the fuck the language is. Notice how they're about to default potentially. Notice how we might have another Lehman Brothers on our hands. But they're keeping it all quiet. They're keeping it all nice and quiet until it's too late. They always use these vague-ass terms rather than point out what's really happening. Because if they point out what's really happening, they can't play fucking poker. The US government keeping on its poker face. European Union keeping on its poker face. Fucking literally Japan and China keeping on their poker face. China doesn't want people to know they're not buying. China doesn't want people to know they're buying gold. Japan's trying to safely prop up their yen. China's trying to save their yen so that it can, you know, they can, actually, I kind of lost that narrative, but you get what I'm saying. They want the real money. They want gold. Notice how the U.S. government can't buy any more gold, because if they do buy gold now with U.S. dollars, that means the country with the world reserve currency is saying that a metal is better than the world reserve currency, which would lead a chain fucking reaction of all banks across the world buying gold, rushing to gold. And then by proxy, they make the largest producers of gold the most powerful economic hands in the world. We're in a tough time right now. And that's just how it is. And you only have a couple of options. Go ghost. Go ghost. Go buy Bitcoin. I'm not saying don't pay your taxes. Of course, do that. But there's no rules against buying a commodity in society as of now. There's no rules against doing that as of now. There might be rules against how much of a commodity you can buy in the future. We've already seen it in Canada. You can no longer buy over 30 grand Canadian dollars of any other coin that is not Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, and Ethereum. Notice how they're going after XLM, Monero. That's the only other one that I'm keeping my eye on, because Monero, the FBI hasn't been able to crack Monero, and it's under the guise of money laundering, which you can do. Duh, it's a privacy coin. But in my opinion, Monero is the only other one after Bitcoin that can give you that privacy. I don't know the inflation rates and all that, but it's the only other one that can technically fight the government. Well, it's not even about fighting the government. It's about saving yourself. from the actions of a free government that claims they don't have a narrative, really. That's what this is really about. Because we can't fight the Fed. Nobody can fight the Fed. As we've seen for literally the last 50 years? Fuck, 50 years. Like, you can't fight them. Anyways, Vlad Ethereum, crypto genius. Mark my words. Bitcoin will reign. All right, I'll see you guys later.